Hi class. I'm putting together this quick video to help you with brainstorming your costumes for your mannequin. Um, I went ahead and brought in some references here so you guys can see kind of what I'm thinking about building, but I also have my reference board on a different screen. So the first thing that you need to remember when you're working on your project is always have your reference board open. You guys have a stylistic approach you have to go for. You have ideas that you guys have created with your group. So do not neglect your board. Um, so what I have here is just one of those mannequins that I created based off photo reference. So this is exactly what you kind of need for a mannequin, something plain and simple. Mainly we're doing these to focus on the proportions and the pose. So you could see what I have here is a couple of hoods, some kind of like warlock jacket, the pose that I initially made here, and then I have some art and armor here. So this is an AI image over here. So I'll probably be adopting some of this stuff that the AI spit out. This one right here is going to be just an influence of kind of hard edge that I want to include, and then just armor in general. So I'm going to start sketching. So there might be some times where I'm not talking because I'm like focusing on this image. But I'll try to speed up over those in the video. But I'm just going to go ahead and start brainstorming here. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to make my figure a little bit bigger. My monitor is like a good 2 feet away from me, so I can I can barely see it sometimes. But what I'm thinking about creating is I want to have like a guy who wears a hood and he has like a warlock jacket or maybe something with this pattern. But I want to have some robotic and medieval elements. So I'm just going to start sketching on top of this. This is a brand new layer, and I'm sketching with a darker color so I can tell them apart. Okay, so looking at my reference, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how would his hood kind of be created? So I'm looking at his neck part, and immediately I'm starting to think this can be like a robotic neck. So it can have like these metal grooves in it. And I want to create like a jacket that kind of attaches to his shoulder. So this is the time where you start just putting things on paper. Since I'm still early on right now, there's not a lot that I have to worry about. I mainly just want to figure out a design. So I really like how this jacket kind of something like this. I love asymmetrical design. It's something that always catches my attention. So I'm gonna work with asymmetry. I wanted to have a hood, so I like the little widow's peak design on this hood. So let's see what I could do here. And again, I'm just roughly putting ideas onto the mannequin. I could see that hood's not gonna work. So don't be afraid to erase, but don't get too fixated on erasing. Because the more you spend erasing, it's just gonna take you longer and longer to come up with something. So maybe his hood's kind of like this. I want it to be kind of like a rogue character. So later on, I could decide, do I want to keep the hood or do I want to do something different? Um, I thought the hood would be kind of cool, but I kind of like his head too because then I could add like tattoos or something onto his head, kind of like Avatar. So I'm gonna come back to that because I can't really decide. So the most important thing is, if you get stuck somewhere, start jumping around. Don't get fixated on one area. So I'm looking at this design here. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have some kind of long jacket here. So he'll have like this cloth that sits on top of his body, and then some sort of jacket that goes around his silhouette. I don't want to lose too much of his silhouette either because I really do like his pose. But you can see here, like I'm trying to build it up, right? So that's kind of cool. I try not to focus on the shoes too much right now because it's not really an important thing. I mainly just want to get his silhouette and the design down. So that's kind of cool. I like this design. I'll probably incorporate like the triangles into his design here. I could do that later. Let's see. What else can I do? What if he had a helmet? So whenever I'm working with helmets, I can either draw them in and figure them out on my own, or you can adopt parts of the picture. So the important thing about using photo bashing is do not use the picture as your own. So you're mainly just using it to influence what you want to create. So you can see here, I took a piece of this mask and I'm going to use it differently than they're using it in the reference image. So what if we did something like this? I'm going to copy and paste it. Flip it over to be kind of interesting. So you could see what I'm thinking about is like these spike shapes and a helmet on top. So I'm going to lower it a little bit. I want it to be almost to his eye line. And I'm going to merge these. And on a new layer, actually want to lighten this up so we don't see it too much. On my new layer, I'm going to sketch my idea out. So I'm thinking maybe you can have like these metal plates. Kind of like that. But I want this metal plate, I want this to be like an opening where you can see through. So I'm going to bring this design down. Going to bring that one over. And I'm just trying to stay loose. I'm not trying to be perfect. Just because it is still early on. I don't have to worry about getting everything hyper rendered or anything like that. So if I do that, it'd be cool if you had like a little top to this helmet. Maybe it's like a hat or something. And now I could go in there and adjust. So I want to distort it a little bit. This is where my mannequin comes to save me. You know, I've already built it and it's showing me where it should be placed if I want him to see through it. So that could be like the design of the helmet. I'm not worried about his ears. You could tuck his ears into the mask. Sorry, the video didn't freeze. My dog was playing with his toy and it was noisy in the background, so I had to take it away. So let's just continue this. Maybe he has like a chin guard for this design. And now that I think about it, if I put a hood on him, it's gonna defeat the purpose of this design. But I want to continue like these um, spiky elements into his body. So maybe this actually has like a collar. So we got like this spiky collar, and now I'm getting a really cool design out of this. Um, so the important thing, like I said, is build the mannequin first, do some light sketching, nothing too crazy, and then afterwards we can start figuring what everything is. So this is the low stress area, right? This is where you're just designing. You're just creating a really cool silhouette, and then afterwards you can start problem solving. So let me zoom out. And let me turn the sketch off just to see what it looks like without that. You can see like it's getting some sort of character. Now I know that my mannequin, I'm going to make a copy of for later, but I'm going to erase elements from it because I don't want like this t-shirt cut here. I'm going to need this one though. This one has to stay. I was thinking about throwing this shape back here too, but like I said, I like asymmetry, so I'm going to keep that off of it. So this is a really cool part about using photographs that I took this design and then I made something brand new out of it. So don't be hesitant to use photographs. Just make sure that you're using them correctly. Don't just copy and paste and say like, okay, that's mine. Um, Alter it here and there. Now this is an AI image here. So what I would say is AI already copied us, so I'm gonna copy AI. I don't care. Um, so I'm gonna just use its design. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel bad sampling AI since it's already sampling us. So let's go in here. And I really like this armor design, and it keeps going with the theme of spikiness, right? Like these really cool sleek grooves. So that's gonna help me a ton in this area. So I'm gonna turn the picture off, just right there. And then this element I'm gonna keep using. So I actually drew that on the layer with the helmet. This is pretty cool, but I feel like it's getting too repetitive there. That's kind of cool. If his shoes had it, maybe I'll do that instead of doing the one on his kneecap. So I'm going to take this one away and see if I can adopt it somewhere else. I don't like that. And there it is. Look at that. Similar design, and now I could use it and repurpose it in a different area. So I'll probably leave it there. Could be like an armor plate or something like that. So early designs looking very interesting. Um, we can add some accessories or maybe some more details around. So maybe in the jacket, I can add like some kind of rim on it. Maybe that's gonna be metallic-y. Like that. And then I wanted to have like a spike in the back. I'm looking at this robotic thing. I love like the design of some of this stuff. And it's mainly the little spikes that are sticking out like the antennas. So maybe that can be added to this design for the helmet. So what if it had like antennas? But I don't want to have just two antennas because then it's going to look like insect. Maybe something like that. We can decide on all these up here later. But I think it'd be kind of cool to just have like random antennas coming out of his head. And then what else can I do here? I like these straps that this hood kind of has. So I'm going to add a strap that actually holds this together here. So maybe there's a strap and goes like this. The buckle. So I just noticed that it's going against the form of the body. So I want it to go like this. And we have the buckle go here. And a little bit of the strap kind of hangs off. So it's more of aesthetic. It's not really functional. But I don't just want one. Maybe I could do two. Or we can add them up here, which actually that sounds like a better idea. So you see, like, immediately I'm starting to figure out stuff like, okay, maybe this strap is more successful if it was like hanging off of his shirt here. And you can have the buckle kind of flying. And what that's doing, it's starting to break apart my silhouette. It's giving me new ideas. And this character silhouette starts to change with the design. So we'll do something like that. That's pretty cool. And then I'll bring that same element of straps and we can do it on his legs with the little buckles things kind of going like that. So I'm trying to stay consistent and continue the designs throughout the drawing. I did like that boot design, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to draw that over here. So the way I see it, it's probably like this, and then cuts. It's like a little shield. And maybe it's just me, but the design is making sense in my head, and I can start seeing a vision for it. Um, that might not be the case for you right now. You might be looking at this like, what in the world is he drawing? Um, but as long as it's making sense in your head and you can start to figure it out, just keep going. We can polish this up in a little bit. It's actually a really cool design, but I'm noticing this is a little too flat here. I need something to push this cloak. So I'm thinking maybe instead of using the diamond that they have in this design, I'm going to do like these little arrows, and that's going to make it look even more dangerous. So this goes back to um, the design. So if I have spikes and I have triangles and stuff like that, it starts to read like a villain character. So keep that in mind. If you do a round design, then that's telling me that character is a good character or somebody, just that they're huggable in a way, right? Um, whereas a square would be a little bit more of a dominant, strong character. So continue that there. I feel like this cloak needs to be a little bit closer to his body. I don't want to lose his hand. That's going to give me a good silhouette there. Nice little cutout. So overall, you should be having fun with it. Don't stress out too much about what you're doing. Um, Once you get into designing, that's where the stress starts to come in. Just because you're spending time noodling stuff around. And like I've told you guys before, like noodling is like something that I don't enjoy. I like the concepting part a lot, but I'm trying to continue that strap design here. Maybe I'll do 3 here. And we could give him 1 or 2 on this side. Or you know what? We'll make that even. We'll do 3. So let's zoom out. So that's looking pretty cool. Now I need to adjust my silhouette because my silhouette has changed from my mannequin and I want to keep this silhouette to see if it works. So I'm going to make a brand new brush here. I mean, a new layer, sorry. And I'm going to fill this in. Let's go ahead and delete that. I want to see how successful this silhouette is. If it isn't successful, if I can't tell what's going on, then maybe I need to step back and go back to my mannequin. So this is going to lose the leg design a little bit. But I think it looks kind of cool. If I turn off the sketches. Okay, I like the silhouette. It's almost like this slender villain looking character. Here was a different silhouette that I was planning on using. And you can adopt things from different silhouettes. You don't have to just keep one. Uh, Let me just turn on all my sketches here. That was the original paint picture. Okay, we're gonna work with that. So I'm going to move all my sketches and merge them. Okay, now I could start going in here and designing. So silhouette looks good. Now I can go and start figuring out what's actually on inside this design. So I'm gonna lighten it up, make a new layer, zoom in. And now I'm gonna start drawing. So this is where you want to slow down a little bit. You want to just spend time thinking about what's it looking like. I really like this design though. Maybe what I can do is use the symmetry tool and draw one side and then just warp the other. So I'm just drawing real quick, trying to figure out what's in here. Control T and then distort it. It's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it though. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. So this is kind of the time when I start going into autopilot. So if I get quiet, it's not that I left. It's just I'm focusing on this stuff. And some of you might have, if you have Overwatch, you're gonna have more hard edges. So you really need to focus on the details here. And of course, the painting brings everything out. But if you have it in there first, you save yourself some time. So I'm trying to stay a little bit loose still. Just a random line there. This mask looks kind of sad. I think the hardest part about doing something like this is figuring out the design. Like the initial steps where you're sitting there trying to figure out like, okay, what am I gonna draw? How do I make it look like what I want or what I envision? But I think the picture idea that I did for this kind of helps with that. Bring that down. The jacket was cool. I remember I liked the jacket a lot. Let's try to give him a neck or something here. This is the straps in his jacket. It's going to be a cut that's kind of holding the straps. Jacket goes in here. And if you feel like your design's not working, then start over. Just throw it away, go to a different one, and think about, okay, what worked in that last pass and what didn't work. Or butcher it together and just make something new out of it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So this is still far, far, far away from my final design. I'm just trying to come up with something for this character. Sorry. Not sure if this character's gonna have like gloves or armor on his hands yet, but we can come back to that. Maybe his fingers are more like claws to make him look more evil. Zoom out. So it looks interesting. I'm not convinced yet. Um, but sometimes painting fixes that. There's parts that I really do like about the character. Like I like the jacket, I like the boots, the strap idea, but I'm not convinced about the helmet. Maybe that's something that I'll erase. So let me merge these first. Make a copy. Let's come up with something different here. I like the triangular head. That's kind of cool. Maybe he's facing forward instead. That'd be kind of cool if he had horns. Maybe his horns are kind of like animal horns. Kind of unpredictable. Kind of looks like a goat now. Bring that symmetry back in. It's looking more interesting. I don't want them to touch. I want them to be separated. I like the idea of it being like animal themed or maybe like branches too. Because if I did like branches, then I can have his arms have branches going around it, like vines. That'd be kind of cool. So you see, now I came up with something different just from changing gears and trying a different design. And then I can add trees into his design. So on top of these, there could be like tree designs inside his cloak. So if you decide to change gears, do it sooner rather than later. Don't spend too much time, taking something apart if you feel like it's not going to work. Because then you'll be sitting at your desk for hours and hours trying to figure stuff out. That's pretty cool. Okay. I like this design a lot more. And by the way, guys, this video is very long. So you don't have to sit here the whole time watching it. You can jump around, see how it comes together later. I might have to record it in parts too, because it is a long process doing this. That boot design is really cool too. Okay, I think I like the design, so I'm gonna run with this one. It almost looks deer-like, which is kind of cool. Cybernetic deer warlock guy. Okay, so I'll zoom out. That's my design. Now I need to start figuring out all the details. So let's go ahead and copy. I think I should be fine. Let's look at this silhouette. Merge. Gonna copy up. Turn that copy off. I like to make a lot of copies because I jump around a lot. All right, so let's brush some stuff in here. So I want to separate some of these silhouette values because I don't want to lose his silhouette with this jacket. So I'm actually going to paint the back of the jacket a lighter color. Just the part that sticks out in the back. So I've lassoed everything, but you'll see what I'm talking about right now. Let's go ahead and make this a light color. Might be a little too light, but we'll see. Just want these parts here. I don't want to lose the silhouette. And then I can use that same gray, maybe a little bit darker. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to be able to still see his leg silhouette. I don't want it to just blend in into a blob. I usually start everything with Grayscale. It just helps me a lot to figure designs out. If you feel comfortable enough to just go in color, then go for it. But I just feel like it's a lot more beneficial to do it this way. This will be his horns. So now that I have this design like this, and I'm feeling pretty confident with it, um, I could start bringing in like really strong reference to help me design it. So I'm not thinking about color or value or anything. I mean, not value, lighting. None of that yet, because I feel like I still need to go in here and refine some stuff. Some final touches here and there. I'm just adding this grayscale to start to break up the designs, the different surfaces, the jacket, the arms, all that stuff. And I want to actually erase some parts of the silhouette because I saw some stuff that I really liked. And I think that erasing the silhouette away is going to help it stand out. So like this boot cut, I think that would be really cool to get rid of. Um, the arm right here, the silhouette here can go. So this part right here might be easier with the lasso tool. So now that's kind of separating the silhouette. I do have a good idea of like this is going to be metal up here. So I could just take the reference. So I'm thinking the light's going to come from top right. So light will go here like this. So you can have like breaks in his armor. This armor will have some strong highlights. Let's see what it looks like without a sketch. Interesting. I also want this to be like a light in his eye. Oh, I painted on the sketch. No wonder it looked weird. Go back. There we go. So what I meant about refining this design more is, let's say for example, the cloak here. What I can do is adopt my illustration here. I mean the photo reference. And I'm gonna bring that on top to help me figure out folds. So I actually want this to be facing this way like that. Maybe vertically, horizontally changing it. And now I can use that to sketch my other design on top. So I'm going to make a new layer on top of my work in white, lighten it, just tone down the opacity a little bit. And then on here, I'm going to go in and with the fine brush, I want these folds. So all his folds will go that way. I want the thing to continue on this way. And what this is going to do, it's going to push my design even further. And there's parts that I know I can fix on my own without the photo reference. Just going to continue up and create his jacket collar. And then these will kind of pinch. So I'm just going to autopilot here and just doodling because I know it has to come up and pinch up here. So these straps might become an issue. So I'm going to have to revisit those and decide, am I going to keep them or are they going to go? So I'm going to zoom out again. And I'm going to turn my reference off. You can see that looks way better than my initial sketch. So now there's a clear idea of how this fabric is traveling. This one might be an issue right there. I'll come back to that. maybe this jacket, now that I think about it, would be kind of cool because it's not hanging on to anything on his neck. We could throw like a chain in here. Some kind of chain like this. It has like little gems hanging off. And it just clips onto his neck. There we go. That looks kind of cool. So see, just refining, refining, refining. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep working on this, and it's gonna be sped up so you can see it, come to life. Since this video is already going for how long? 41 minutes. So I'm gonna do that and then do the same process, like taking my pictures and helping it push my design out. So it's just gonna go into a speed here. So just kind of watch it, and then I'll come back at the end and kind of explain what I was doing. All right, real quick, if you guys are still watching, hopefully you still are. I took the design from the mask and I grabbed half of it and took that into the shoulder. Because it was very unclear as to what I was going to put in that shoulder piece. But then I remembered I got to keep on going with my similar design that I was creating. So now I can use that shoulder piece, I mean the mask, sorry, as influence for the shoulder piece. So this is just where you start repeating elements in your design. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You've already designed all the other stuff. So why not repurpose some of that work you've already done? So I'm just adding like cut lines and stuff here. I really like the design of that mask. It came out really cool. I was surprising myself as I was doing it. Uh, but now I just want to come up with something similar for the shoulder. So I'm kind of just erasing some areas that I know I don't want. Because I don't want to lose that arm piece, that jacket either. So you can see it's coming to life, right? If I zoom out a little bit, this design is coming to life really, really well. Um, it changed a lot from our initial design. So it's become something different. It's not just cybernetic, but it also has elements of like deer and still has like that warlock feel. Um, Especially with like the elf ears coming out. I think that's a pretty cool touch. So I'm just gonna keep detailing this and keep going until I get somewhere to the bottom. But just like I did with the mask, don't feel afraid to grab some stuff and then reuse them. I have these triangular shapes now that I can throw into the cloak. I have an idea of what the trees on the cloak are gonna look like because I have these up here. They almost look like horns and trees together. So I'm just gonna keep going, and then the rest of this video is gonna be sped up, so I won't be talking anymore through it. And then at the end, I'll kind of just show the last image, no color, just grayscale. And then next week I'll show you guys how to start coloring and detailing and stuff like that. So enjoy the rest of the video. If this helps, fantastic. If you feel like you need a little bit more help, feel free to email me or ask around in class or come to office hours. We're just trying to figure this out, and the design process is really, really difficult, but just takes time. Just sit there, really use your resources, use your reference images, and I'm sure that you guys can figure it out. You guys are really, really talented, and I'm sure you can do this. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need help. Here I have like the design, and I think I've almost have it all done. I think everything on the top half is looking wonderful with the cloak included, and then the shoes. But now the legs is the only thing that's missing. So you could see I just kind of went a little bit more into just scribbling some values in there. Everything's reading pretty well here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it for now. I'm going to save this, and then I'll start doodling on it a little bit this weekend to kind of see what I could come up with. Maybe do some more detailed grayscale. That way, when we move into color, it's a little bit easy to read. But I hope this video and just watching the demonstration really helps you, because I know that it's a different kind of project we haven't tackled yet. But don't forget that you need the 3 designs. So this would be my first one, and then I move to the second and third, depending on what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'll post a PSD of this if you guys want it, so you can see the whole process behind it. I'll put that on the drive along with the video. But if you have any questions, just please let me know. Just contact me, and I could do a paint over, or we could just wait for critique on Wednesday. So hope this helps. You guys have a good weekend. See ya.